welcome to the Nerd Card. I'm Chuck.
I'm Phil.
All right.
You don't see that?
You okay?
No, I mean, I get...
Hello and welcome to the Nerd Card. I'm Chuck.
I'm Phil, and...
Hello and welcome to the Nerd Card. I'm Chuck.
I'm Phil.
Hello and welcome to the Nerd Card. I'm Chuck.
I'm Phil. And today, we're talking about Live, Die, Repeat. Oh, it's called Edge of Tomorrow, isn't it? Damn.
Hello, welcome to the Nerd Card. I'm Chuck.
I'm Phil. And today, we're going to be talking about The Edge of Tomorrow.
Yes, we are.
Hello, and welcome to the Nerd Card. I'm Phil.
I'm Chuck.
And today, we're going to be talking about The Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
This film, for me, it's something I avoided.
Yeah. No, and I understand why.
I just didn't, when I saw the trailers for it, I went, whatever.
Edge of Tomorrow is a movie that suffered theatrically because it had a terrible trailer.
Yeah.
I don't know who at the studio cut it. I suspect they probably don't work there anymore.
You're fired.
I would certainly hope they don't.
It was one of those movies, and obviously we're big sci-fi nerds. I mean, clearly, we do this show. And it was a movie that I wasn't going to go see in the theater, and I was living in Arizona at the time, and it was a weekend. I was bored, and I said, screw it. Tom Cruise makes good movies usually, and I went to the theater.
He does.
And
I want the truth.
I loved it. And I'm like, this is so not what I thought it would be based on the initial trailers. And, it was such a strange occurrence with that movie because, again, the way they cut the trailer was not at all telling you what the story was going to be.
No,
right?
not at all.
And
I didn't want to see this movie.
And it was so strange. And the trailer, and again, harping on the original trailers, were so bad that really the naming of the movie was followed by how bad the trailer was, Edge of Tomorrow, which makes sense once you see it, but it's really hard to put it into words, and they really should have named it what the tagline was, and in fact they did later. It's a weirdness of the movie of where it kind of quasi had the trailer changed, or the name of the movie changed in between the release in the theater and the home release.
Right.
Because a lot of people know it by Live, Die, Repeat.
Sure.
Which was the tagline.
Well, and it was prominently featured on the DVD packaging.
Right. It's bigger than actually than the name of the movie in many cases.
The actual name, yeah.
Yeah, and originally the name of the movie was The Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat. Mm-hmm. And then it somehow morphed into being just called Live, Die, Repeat by many people. Right. Because really, that's what happens in the movie. Tom Cruise lives, dies, and repeats.
Very similar to, like, Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Hey, Phil? Phil? Hey, Phil Connors. Ned?
In that respect. But it's a really cool movie.
Yeah.
Like I said before, I didn't want to watch it. And when Chuck had mentioned, maybe we should do an episode on Edge of Tomorrow. And I said, well, why? Why would we do that? And so he forced me to, well, he didn't force me to watch it.
That would be illegal.
He goes, look, it's got Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, we're not a droogie. We're not going to do that.
No, it was none of that. But he goes, look, this is a good episode for us. It'd be really good to just watch the movie. So we sat down and we watched it last week, and I was blown away. Yeah. This movie is really good, and it's really good sci-fi.
Yeah, it is. It's really got a great cast. Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise doesn't do anything bad, really. It's
he's
strange.
So good. He's such a wacko, but he's good.
He's a great actor. He's a great leading man in an action film.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this movie's a sci-fi, but also an action film.
Yep.
Emily Blunt is his co-star. She's great in the film.
She's wonderful. You don't think of her as an action star, but, man,
she's killer.
She's awesome at it.
Bill Paxton plays a small role, but he's equally fantastic in it.
And, you know, that's a nice thing about a movie like this, where it is kind of the Groundhog Day thing, where it repeats and repeats and repeats. Yeah. So that small role that Bill Paxton has,
bigger and bigger and bigger.
He keeps showing up. It's a really cool thing.
Yeah, and the way that they do the Groundhog Day effect in this movie was really something that really impressed me. You know, it's you get to the point. Okay, so the first time that it happens, and of course, you know, spoilers, but this movie's several years old.
Yeah.
You know, so if you haven't seen it in 5 years, it is what it is. Yeah. Don't just stop now.
Stop! Okay, keep doing it.
But you know, the movie, basically the theme of the movie is there's an alien invasion in the planet.
Yes, the mimics.
Yes, and they're going across Europe, right? They started landing in Russia, and they've gone across all of Russia, and now it's in Europe and into England. And if they can't stop it here, they're trying. It's out of the U.S. is mustering in England, kind of like World War II. And there's a big fight in Central Europe for basically the world.
Yeah.
And because the world armies are down to their last really gasp of a big movement to try to stop the mimics.
Well, they just can't. I mean, it's an overpowering enemy.
And you come to learn to find out that the mimics, they're more of a hive mind, right?
You're not fighting an army. You have to think of this as a single organism.
So that's a sci-fi concept that's been explored several times as a hive brain, whether that's in Star Trek with the Borg.
From this time forward, you will service us.
Doctor Who with the Daleks. They have a hive mind.
The Daleks, they have a hive mind. Well, they don't, but they have a sort of telepathic web.
The path web, yes.
Ender's Game with the Formics.
To what animals are the Formics most often compared?
Ants.
Which have
A queen who directs the worker ants. What she thinks they do.
You know, there's a lot of different hive minds, and it's an interesting concept, obviously, because we keep exploring it as humans in sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
And in this one, there's an alpha and an omega. You know, there's other things you could talk about there with alpha and omega.
Right.
You know, and the omega is...
It's the brain. It controls them all.
And then there's a couple alphas. There's not just one alpha, there's several alphas, but they're very few. I think they had an exact number.
Yeah, there's a ratio given in the film.
1 to 300,000 or something, or however many mimics there are.
They're like 1 in 6.18 million by my guess.
Sure.
And yeah, the you know, one of Ramsey Bolton's guys tells us that.
He's good. Very good.
Yes.
And
yes, he does.
And so these alphas have this blood that if you happen to kill an alpha and their blood gets into your system, you get one of their powers. And one of their powers is if they're losing the conflict.
Whenever an alpha is killed, an automatic response is triggered. The omega starts the day over again.
They can reset time.
Yeah, that's pretty freaking cool.
It is really cool.
And Tom Cruise doesn't know this when it first happens to him.
No, not at all. Just freaks out because he dies and wakes up.
Yeah, because Tom Cruise's character, he's a major in the Army, but he's a major who basically does what we do. He goes and films things and interviews people. And it'd be like if we were majors and you put us in the Army and said, oh, yeah, no, you're going to command a unit.
Yeah.
He freaks out. He runs away.
We'd be dead in seconds,
right? Brandon Gleeson, who's the general over the entire Army, has him arrested and then sends him in as a deserter, and he's a private. And you're just going to go and have fun and die.
Right.
And so he goes into this unit without any training. That's where Bill Paxton comes in. And Bill Paxton's character is his sergeant, and he's awesome. Just does a killer job. Probably one of his last roles.
Yeah, probably was. Yeah. And he kills it. I mean, he's a highlight of the movie.
He is a highlight of the movie.
Actually, that's something I wanted. You've mentioned now two of the actors, and that's Brendan Gleeson.
Yep.
who plays General Brigham.
Yep.
And Noah Taylor, who plays Dr. Carter. He's the one that tells us all about the alphas and all of that stuff. Those two actors have worked with Tom Cruise in other projects, and I thought it was really cool to see them come in and do that. Brendan Gleeson was a bad guy in Mission Impossible 2.
Okay.
Which, of course, stars Tom Cruise.
Sure.
And Noah Taylor plays a psychiatrist in Vanilla Sky. And if you've never watched...
Oh, no doubt. I've seen it. I didn't know that was him, though. It's been a long time.
Oh, yeah. And it's an older movie.
Oh, it's a good movie, though.
It's an older code, but it checks out.
Exactly. I was about to clear it.
Shall I hold? No. Leave them to me. I will deal with them myself.
As you wish, my lord. Carry on.
It's a good one, and it's cool to see that, as Tom Cruise goes through his career, obviously he's this gigantic actor.
Show me the money!
He finds people that it works well with, and I think brings them along.
That's when job gets fun.
Yeah.
Ask, and you shall receive.
I don't blame him.
A lot of guys do that,
Oh, for sure.
Kevin Smith is famous for that.
Absolutely.
Not that he's the status of Tom Cruise. He's not.
No.
But
like Seth Rogen,
sure.
Actors like that tend to bring along.
It makes
people
sense.
they
If you
enjoy
make
working
good product
with.
together, you would continue on to do it. Stands to reason.
Exactly right.
So I didn't know that, but so Brendan Gleeson as that general sends him in, and we get to Bill Paxton, does a great job. And then Cruise, the first time that his character goes out there, and he just totally is lost. He doesn't know how to operate the exoskeleton.
Oh, no.
And he lucks into killing this alpha, and he burns into his skin, and his blood mixes in, and then when the time resets, he's still alive.
Yep.
So now you come to find out, after he comes in, and it's as your first Groundhog Day part, right? He goes in, and he's like, what is going on? And he's like, feels like he's having enormous deja vu.
Deja vu.
Reliving the same exact day.
Then he dies again. And there's a third time, and he's like, okay. So it gets to the point of where he starts to just recite the lines of what Bill Paxton's going to say to him. Points out all the people.
Which he does not like at all.
No, he does not like at all. And he uses all kinds of different ways to rationalize, kind of like Bill Murray did in Groundhog Day.
Absolutely.
But the thing that I really like is as the movie progresses and they establish that, right? They establish that pattern the first time.
Yep.
Then going forward, you just kind of it's like a silent communication between you and the director that, okay, you know what the pattern is. And he just then starts to really have the pace of the movie go faster of, you might see one attempt and then you see him succeed. Then you see one attempt and then he succeeds.
Right. And it doesn't go back and
do it like 800
that.
times.
Right.
And he finds Emily Blunt, and she immediately, when he talks to her in the field, recognizes what's happening because it had happened to her.
Right.
And her character is a big war hero because she won a big battle. Well, she only won the big battle because she was able to change the time back like him.
She knew what was going to happen. Exactly right. What we see, I think it's an interesting departure for Tom Cruise, is his characters, generally what he plays, are experts at what they do. Experts. And Tom Cruise going into this one, his character knows nothing.
No, he's very Jon Snow.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Yes. He is indeed. But it's really cool to see him play that way, but he becomes somebody that knows everything because of the ability to replay that day.
Yeah, and then he has to every day. It's also kind of like a 51st Dates part in this because, every day he has to go back and convince Emily Blunt of what it is, although she recognizes it right away. And he has to catch her up on, okay, this is, time 742.
I'm Bill Cates, you're Dr. Carter. We've had this conversation before. You have two fingers behind your back.
What he doesn't actually say that, but he can.
Well, no, he never actually says how many times.
Says how many times. As he implies that for some times it's been many, 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 many times.
Yep.
Especially at one scene in the end of the movie, near the end of the movie. So, he finally goes, because what they have to do is they have to get to the Omega that we talked about earlier to end the war. Because if you kill the Omega, you kill all of them. And so the challenging part of it is after so much time, the Omega knows that you because it's a hive mind and their blood is in you, it's able to locate Tom Cruise and knows what he's doing and tries to stop him because it wants its power back.
Exactly right. And that's a really cool concept. And it's interesting when he does finally get there, they don't immediately kill him.
No, because they know that he can, if they kill him, it'll go back.
Exactly.
They need to accomplish their mission, but have him live, so they try to sequester him.
Right, exactly.
And not kill him so time doesn't reverse again.
And it really is, I mean, seriously, it sounds complicated, but the movie's not all that complicated.
No.
It's just fun. What that reminded me of the most, when we were watching it, I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm going, this is just like a video game. The first time you play it. When you play, for example, I love the BioShock series. I've played all of them. Yeah. I've 100% completed all 3 of them, and I can't wait for the 4th one, incidentally. But when playing BioShock for the first time, I died at the first enemy every single time I played it for the first few times because I couldn't figure it out.
God, here we go.
It's a good idea, Rick. A device that lets you
save your place like in a video game, but in real life so that you can try stuff and then go back to your save point. Yes, Morty, I saw it on Futurama. Oh.
But as I kept progressing, I kept getting better and better, and I would get to that enemy and I'd kill him. Then I get to the next one and I'd die.
Right.
And that's basically every video game. As you play them, you're going to start off and you're going to suck. And you keep dying, but you keep learning from that and you continue on.
No, it's a very good observation because that's very true of this film.
It really is.
Because he learns, especially that part's really illustrated when there's a point where he's trying to, the first time to go meet Emily Blunt, she says, "Come find me." Well, he's in basic, essentially, of a new recruiter or the training for the deployment. And he keeps trying to figure out this route to find where she is.
rolling under the
truck, and he keeps failing, right? They show fail a few times. Then he gets to the next stage and he fails, so he finally figures it out.
Right.
But the way they do it's really artfully done to show that he gets there, but obviously he failed several times.
Exactly. And I mean, if that's what you have to do, do you have the willingness to roll under a truck and continually try it?
Yeah.
And like I said, that's why it really brought in video games for me, because it really is, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's one of those movies, like I said, with all of that combined, and then, as you said, that observation you have, liking it to a video game. Mm-hmm. It's a really fun sci-fi, nerdy kind of movie that's done so much better and has a cult following now. We're going to get a sequel.
Yeah. We are?
Yeah, there's a sequel that's either in production or close to production.
That's exciting.
So they've been talking about for a while. And the director's already said, this isn't going to be some 8-movie franchise. There's going to be a sequel.
Great.
And that's it.
Thank goodness,
yeah,
right?
I like that too, right? Let's not stretch out something. I don't like when you needlessly make sequels to movies that didn't need it.
Exactly.
But to get a sequel, I'm interested. I'm really interested to see what it is because it was very artfully done by the team the first time.
I completely agree. It's just a beautiful movie. It's a fun movie. And, I'm excited we're going to get to see more of those Call of Duty Modern Warfare jumpsuit things that they were really in. Cool. Yeah. Those are really cool.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's going to wrap it up for The Edge of Tomorrow, or Live, Die, Repeat.
However you want to say it.
But I would like to remind you to check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, Spotify, all that good stuff. We are out there. Share us with all your nerd friends so they can join in the party. And with that, we will say, what's on your nerd card?